Stand by. Is this thing on?
Yes, Dan.
Oh, hello.
You're listening to Old News with Dan and Carrie.
This just in.
Breaking news to report.
We are live.
Old newscasters
Can we just say former?
Sure. Former newscasters reunite behind the mic after more than 20 years.
Old news is good news.
Stay tuned.
Hey, welcome back to Old News with Dan and Carrie. And of course, one of our favorite guests is back with us today, Shannon Seip. And she's coming to us from down under. She is in Perth, Australia, where it is much earlier than it is here, where it's much later. And Shannon, of course, worked at WKOW TV with us, and she was one of the founders of Bean Sprouts, and she has done so much theater. And since she's in Australia doing theater, we wanted to see how things are going down there. She's doing Come From Away and the role of Beverly. Here she is, Shannon Seip.
Shannon! Thanks for having me again.
So we were just going over. So it's 8. So when we're recording this, it's 8 p.m. my time. It's 8 a.m. your time, but it's tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. And you're on the East Coast. So
I'm the East Coast.
A lot going on. Yes. So 8 p.m.
I'm in
your
flyover
time.
country.
7 p.m. Yes. And so what's interesting is after rehearsals, that's when I'll usually start my Zoom meetings. It's like 10:30 p.m. to 12:30, 1 a.m. I know.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us, you got there when, and how are things going so far?
I got here, I found out mid-July, and I was on a plane 2 weeks later. So I've been here since the beginning of August. I told my husband, I was like, I'm so excited to tell you this. I got this role. It's a bigger role than I was even hoping for. And so I'm going to be taken off in a couple weeks for 4 months. Like,
oh my goodness.
Everyone's good. Yeah.
And
so,
what was his reaction?
He was super, he loves the show so much. He knows it's at the top of my bucket list. You know, there was only one location in the United States that was doing this show. So outside of Broadway's closed now, but the touring company is going, but as far as regional theaters. So he was really excited, and then slight panic, and then he regrouped, and then he was excited again.
Is he able to meet you, or are your kids able to come visit while you're there?
Yes. So Isaac is going to UCLA. So it's a direct flight from LA to Sydney. So he came for a week after college orientation. And then Roger and my mother-in-law are coming for opening week.
Ooh, so exciting.
For people who don't know what Come From Away is and what your character is, why don't you give us a little synopsis?
Sure. So Come From Away is based on a true story. They say it's about September 11th, but really the story is about September 12th. So there is a small town in Newfoundland, Canada called Gander. And it's where there is this huge airport that they used to use when air travel was kind of first getting going. Huge airport where planes could refuel because they couldn't make it from Europe all the way to the United States. But since then, obviously, planes have gotten more efficient. And so this airport is a little desolate. But on September 11th, when all the flights were grounded, all these planes came into this airport. This is sounding not super exciting at the moment, but all these planes came into the airport, and the town pretty much doubled in size within 3 hours.
On the northeast tip of North America, on an island called Newfoundland, there's an airport. It used to be one of the biggest airports in the world, and next to it is a town called Gander. Welcome to the Rock.
So the story is really about how this Canadian community welcomed in all these people who were so fearful, who didn't know what was going on, all based on true interviews and things like that. And just how they found inspiration and hope in a time that was very dark. I play the role of Beverly Bass, who is a real person. She was the first female captain for American Airlines.
Yeah.
What's really neat is there are only 12 of us, and we all play multiple roles, and we all have different accents. So I might be wearing a jacket and I'm Captain Beverly Bass, and then I take the jacket off, and 20 seconds later, I'm Annette from Gander with this Canadian accent. I'm wearing this floral vest, which is pretty awesome. And so we're all constantly changing outfits and changing characters, which is a real challenge that I have not done before,
Do you have a dialect coach, or how do you switch in and out of different accents?
That's a great question. So we have a dialect coach. He's from Newfoundland, and then I'm actually the dialect coach for the American accent, because Australians pretending to be Americans, acting as in different parts of the United States. So LA one is easy. Mine is a Texas accent, and there's another Texan accent. That's good. I struggle with accents, so I'm glad that the accents I'm helping with are achievable for me. If they were like Northeast Boston, I'd be like, I don't know.
What a cool show, though, to be able to do, where you are doing like a lead character. You have a wonderful, beautiful song in that show.
Yeah.
But then you get to do some other characters as well. That sounds like a real challenge.
It is a challenge. It's funny because a lot of the shows I've done recently have been, I'm like the sassy middle-aged alto who, I do a big number and like blah blah blah, I tap dance away or whatever. This one, when I play Annette, she's really like, oh, she loves the guys, and there's all these scenes with guys. Like, I'm not used to these kinds of scenes where like I'm just, so that's new. I'm also used to wearing like little dresses doing big numbers. This, I just get to wear jeans and a t-shirt and a vest. And I'm like, this is fabulous. I can eat all the pizza I want ahead of time. And yeah, it's the other challenging element that I have not been a part of, I don't know if you've had this experience, is that we're on stage almost the entire show. So you don't have a time where you're like, oh, my song ended, I'm just going to go like change my clothes and get a drink of water or whatever.
Collect yourself. Yeah.
It's pretty intense. It's a 95-minute show, but pretty hardcore. And it really also brings, as the only American in the cast.
You're the only American.
Like, yes, brings you back that day, and explaining to people, and also young people in the cast who weren't even alive at that time, you realize like, oh, there's a lot that I can tap into easily. I mean, you both know. I mean, I was driving to the airport. I live near the airport, but I was driving into work, and I called Todd, our news director, and I said, I'm just going to swing by the airport and see what's going on. And I was doing live shots all day, and I know we're all on just autopilot, and that's a lot of what this town is going through, is just helping people, and then things soak in, and you realize the impact of that huge event maybe a week later.
Yeah. Well, and you said you're the only American in the show. How did you even come to be in the show? How did you audition for a show in Australia?
Okay, so my email was accurate, but not necessarily correct in the order of events I presented it as to the director. So I'll tell you. So this was one of my
confusing opening.
Well, good. I wanted to be confused. So
we're typically pretty confused anyway, so that's fine.
This was a show I was, my kids are out of the house. I can move. I can work from wherever. I have so many miles from traveling for work. So I was looking for auditions, and Australia has like 4 regional premieres across the continent. And so I had reached out to the first 2, and one said, you can't even be considered unless you're here for auditions. And then I reached out to the second one that's running right now, and I said, would you accept a virtual audition, which is what a lot of people do these days.
Right.
And he said, sure. So I sent in a virtual audition. He said, great, can you come by next week for a callback? And I was like, no, I can't just like swing by
Yeah,
for a
let's
call back.
see.
Yeah, yeah. So that didn't work. And then this one, same. I reached out, virtual audition. Yep, virtual audition's great. And then I was going for a different role, and they um, said if you want to meet on Zoom or do a call back over Zoom, I'm happy to do whatever. And so that's how we did this one. So I Googled Come From Away auditions 2024. There was one area in the United States that had gotten the rights since they released the licensing rights, and I flew to Denver for those auditions and did not do well. That was a rough go of it, but I was still really excited to be there.
Yeah.
And then saw these, so I that's how I ended up doing the virtual audition and virtual callback, and it was all they were very trusting, with somebody they didn't know, and you know.
Did you have to jump through any hoops to be working in Australia?
No, because I work for my own company, so I get, I'm not working for an Australian company and doing
Mm.
all the paperwork to work in Australia. So
Hmm.
it's so this theater company, it's not a paid, it's a regional, but it's a different kind of regional theater than back in the
Hmm.
US. So
Okay.
it just works out fine. Mhm.
So
Gotcha.
then where are you living while you're down there?
Yes, I'm in an Airbnb, and
Okay.
and it's fantastic. I'm in South Perth. Perth is about the size of Chicago, and so I'm in a
Mm.
suburb. And looking up, there's a river to the saltwater river that potentially has sharks in it, I have heard.
Oh, wow.
And I can drive and see the Indian Ocean just
Mm.
a few minutes away, and which is wild. It's something that, we learned in school, but I never
Hmm.
thought I'd see it. Um,
A-
so yeah, it's beautiful here.
And what's the rehearsal schedule like for you then? I mean, you got there in August and you've been rehearsing since then.
Yes, that's been a really interesting. I don't know if this is typical because it's a long rehearsal process. I've
Yeah.
never done anything this long,
Mm.
uh, especially for a show that's 95 minutes. But so we rehearse, I don't know, 15, 20 hours a week. I mean, it's a good chunk of time.
Hmm.
Um, Weekends and then weeknights. It's mostly
Okay.
we do it. And then I go to work after.
You're still
So,
working your regular job then too.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
yeah, I was going to say, so then you get on Zoom calls and you're still doing things with the restaurant.
Yes. So doing that, and then I do my calls late at night. But what's really nice is everyone's asleep when it's daytime here. So I get so
Mm.
much done. And my
Oh.
business partner, I tell her, like, she's like, you're like a little elf. You do all the work, and then I wake up and it's in my inbox. And so it works out pretty well, actually. I'm
Have you had time to explore the country at all?
Yes, I go on Saturdays. I do field trips and I
Mm.
shoot little videos for my family and for I don't know,
Hmm.
Dan, if you saw any of those, but
No,
it's
I didn't.
okay. You don't need to, but so yes, so from when they ask me, it's just been it's a fun way to see. I've been really into farmers markets and
Mm.
art markets, and that's where I met little my Australian artist friends.
That's beautiful.
Um, yeah, and so when after the show wraps, I think I'm going to go to the East Coast and kind of explore
Mm.
about, but I can't go too far just with the rehearsal schedule.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
So,
also have something I was going to show you guys that I brought.
yeah, do it.
So when I got the part, the first thing I did was when I learned this, we were on vacation. I went out to the pool and I listened to the soundtrack and I thought, can I hit that note? Oh my gosh, there's this very key note in this probably the most recognizable song or one of them. And can I do it? And so I could, it wasn't at its peak performance level. So I don't, have you heard of singing straws by
Yes,
chance?
I use them.
Do you? Okay, I have
I
like a
do.
whistle that's like similar. It has the
Oh,
slide on it, so I don't
oh
have a
wow.
set. But don't you find that they're so helpful,
Oh
Carrie?
my gosh. I get so warm and I I leave them in the car. So when I'm going like on my way to sing at church, or if I'm going to
Ah,
do a gig, I go to YouTube and I pull up no
yes.
talking, singing straw warm up. And
With
then I just
Whitney,
woo, with
Whitney,
yes,
with the
and she's the
blonde
yeah, and I bought her straws and now I use
hair.
the tiniest one. So I know I look crazy like as I'm
Yes.
driving, because if
Yes.
anybody, I'm like, I'm not smoking, it just looks like I am.
I am not
And
vaping. Yep.
yeah, but it is amazing how it just relaxes your throat and really
Yes.
warms. I mean, I'm like buzzing by the time I get there.
Yes.
No,
But
well,
this
that's
one, I also, when
awesome.
I'm driving, I'm like, oh, they must think I'm like a dolphin trainer, or, like, what am I?
All as you're going by the sea,
I know
all
the
the dolphin
ocean.
there.
Or a professional kazooist.
Yeah, exactly.
That woman's a
Oh boy.
kazoo virtuoso. Um,
I'm glad you like Whitney. What I do
Hmm.
in I recorded her YouTube ones, and I chopped
Hmm.
out the no talking ones, yes, but then there were some other ones I liked,
Hmm.
and I just listened to that forever and just sing, 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 whistle, whistle, whistle.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
good.
it's great.
so with the rehearsals, and so you're pretty much, you must be running the show full now, with all the rehearsals
Yes.
you've been
Yeah.
doing. Yeah,
We
yeah,
just started. And what the interesting part of the show too, that I also had not, Mamma Mia, as you went, there are a lot of chairs in Mamma Mia, and you're up
yeah,
in chair. Well,
yeah.
the women are up on chairs, up on tables, a lot of chairs.
Mhm.
This show, the set is only 12, 14, but usually 12 chairs and three tables. That's
Hmm.
it. There's no big buildings coming in. There no nothing. So those chairs, we may be singing one thing facing this way, and we're in an airplane, and then we're spinning it around in a split second, and all of a sudden we're in the pub, and I've taken off a jacket, and now I have a different accent, and now
Yeah.
I'm putting this back on, and now we're on a bus, and there's somebody who's put a hat on, and now he's African. I mean, it's like all this moving chairs, which is so interesting, this
Yeah.
choreography. It's
Yeah.
intense. And the show we're doing, the licensing rights, it has to be, it's a replica production, so it has to be exactly how the Broadway one was.
Oh,
So
wow.
Wow.
they tell you where to go and what to do, which is a different process than what you have generally as a director or choreographer, where you're
Hmm.
envisioning what you want to do. So we are moving it exactly how they did it on Broadway. Um,
Cool.
which is fun too, because, I
Yeah.
don't know, Carrie, if when you were little, if you watched Annie and you're like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to do the whole It's a Hard Knock Life, just how they do it in the movie. So you're watching it, you're like, oh, this is a helpful training video to watch this on Apple TV Plus, and I can
Yeah.
see where my chair goes, and
Mm.
yeah.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
the whole flight, when they're guiding in all the planes at the beginning, is that done just like it was done in Broadway too, then with the little lights in your faces and stuff like that?
Yeah, the
Yep.
lights. The
Yeah.
only thing we don't have is a revolve.
Yeah.
So the stage doesn't have the revolve. So we did stage that a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But yes, everything else, I mean, down to the like, you sit on this word, you stand up on this word, you move this chair,
Wow.
which is usually fine if you're moving, or you move two chairs and you have 3 seconds to move this chair here and this chair here. If you move a chair for yourself and you mess up, like, whatever, you roll with it. But if you're moving chairs for other people,
Hmm.
it's totally different, because you don't want to mess up their performance.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right.
Yeah,
So did you research then, Beverly, the pilot, seeing that? I mean, I know not everybody in the show is a real person. Some are kind of like
right.
I guess
Amalgamations of it.
amalgamation of,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
Beverly's one of the real characters, and I mean, she was
Yeah.
the first female pilot for American Airlines. So that's
Yes,
pretty
yes,
interesting stuff.
yes. And I not only did, and I love that role, and I've seen Jen Colella do it on Broadway, but then in true journalism, journalistic form, I
Right.
found the real Beverly Bass, and I reached out to her. I was
Really?
like,
I was going to ask you.
yes, because there's probably only, I don't know, 8 or 10 of us who have done this role so far. So
Hmm.
it's not super widespread. So I thought, I just want to thank her for what she's done. She's um, not only empowered women and children, but just helped our country in a time of need. So I found her on Facebook. She wasn't hard to find, but
Yeah.
and then thanked her and just said, I'm you for a few months. And so she said she was really excited about our production. She wants a cast photo. So I'm going to send her a cast soon when we finish our costumes, and then hopefully get a
Cool.
little good word back I can share to the cast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you get to talk to her or was it all by computer?
No, it was I just messaged her and
Mm.
then she didn't respond, but I could see that she'd read it. So then I messaged her again.
Oh,
It was like, hey, I'm not, this isn't just a
Yeah.
joke. This
I'm not
is
stalking
here's the
you. Yeah.
theater.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh,
But
that's
she is a
cool.
very, she's in her 70s now, and she
Mhm.
basically was flying on September 11th. And it's a lot of her experience of dealing with the crew, dealing with air traffic control, not knowing what to say to her passengers, being separated from her husband and kids, and them being so worried about her. And also her story of how this is being a pilot is what she's wanted to do her entire life, her dream come true. And she fought, gender barriers and all sorts of obstacles. And then she finally got to be, the first captain or first pilot, female pilot at American Airlines, first female crew that they had, and it was huge news around the world. And then, the fact that a plane, the line in the song, the fact that a plane is what brought the Twin Towers down, or two planes, it just crushed her dreams because that's what she's put all of her passion into, and that's what destroyed, so many lives.
Yeah.
So the song's called Me in the Sky, and it's a really amazing song.
So when after the show's over, you said you're going to travel a little bit, or I guess see the east part of Australia. Are you auditioning for other things while you're down there virtually, or is there another show
I
in your?
might I'm doing the Barry Manilow cabaret show in Milwaukee area in March.
Oh.
And yeah, I do want to have the experience of auditioning here, even if it's not for anything that I'm interested in. So I'm hoping I can find something in Sydney or Melbourne or something like that, just to have that experience,
Yeah.
But
Is the
no,
Milwaukee show the same one you did in Madison?
it is. Yes, it's
Oh,
at it's at a playhouse. I forget the name of it right now, but it's a three night gig, ladies, and so that'll be fun.
Is that the
That's a
Sunset
fun.
Playhouse?
Yes,
it
the
s-
Sunset Playhouse.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a great place. Yeah.
And it was hard to leave in the summer and come to winter, even though it wasn't snowing here, but
Yeah.
now it's spring. Now it's almost summer. No pumpkin spice here, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
What was winter like down there?
Where I am, it's like a mix of San Diego and Marin County up in
Okay.
Northern California. So it was pretty mild,
You felt very at
rain.
home then.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's have my oat milk latte, do my Pilates, do my little, routine, look at the water and work. Yeah, it's quite lovely. I could see hanging out here for some time.
Yeah, it sounds pretty
Oh,
nice.
Well,
Carrie's
cool.
looking
We
through
might
her
need a
phone
field
right
trip.
now.
I know. I'm like, I just booked an Airbnb. I'm coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If it wasn't so far away, it would be wonderful to come see you. But you're just going to have to send some pictures.
It's a flight, yeah.
And videos.
Well, it's really exciting to hear, how it's going, and it sounds like you're having a great time and learning a lot. And gosh,
Yeah.
to be able to perform just in another country alone, no matter, and to do a show that's on your bucket list in another country with a group of people that you really like working with, that's a real blessing. Right. Well, it's been great talking to you, Shannon. I don't want to keep you all day, but we just wanted to get a little update on how it's going down there, and we're really looking forward to hearing more about how the show goes once you actually start the run.
Thanks for
Yes.
having me. Good to see you.
Congrats. And best
Thank
of luck. Break a leg. Break a leg.
As they say here, chukas. I learned that.
Chukas.
It's not
What is it?
break a leg. It's CHOOKAS. Chukas.
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 And what does it mean?
Break a leg.
I mean, it just means break a leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Chukas.
yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That's what we say.
We're going to end
Or
all of our
we
shows with
say.
that now. Chukas.
Chukas. and whatever the Bob Miller said about Ireland too, it's like
Oh,
sloucha.
yeah.
Chukas,
Yeah.
sloucha.
It's like
Yeah.
cheers
Old
in
news out.
Irish.
We're international. We are an international show.
Yes,
We
we
are
are.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see
It's
you.
great to-
Thank you.
Bye, Shannon.
friend. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Old News with Dan and Carrie.
That's old news for now.
Join us next time.